Well, one of the ministries we were all involved with when we were in Youth with a Mission in Atlanta was racial reconciliation. Atlanta has always been a city that's been considered racially divided. In fact, I-20 goes through this middle of, east and west dividing line of Atlanta, right down the middle. And north of I-20 is predominantly white. South of I-20 is predominantly black. And when I first got to Atlanta, we were attending different meetings, and one of the things I heard mentioned more than once was the most segregated place in Atlanta is any church on any given Sunday. And it was true. The churches we went to were all white. And now we were involved with a church that we became a part of after we moved to Atlanta that had kind of a sister relationship with an African-American church in downtown Atlanta. It was a Church of Christ Holiness. And so, and talking with both pastors and getting to know everyone, my family, we would alternate between the predominantly white church one Sunday. Next week we'd be downtown Atlanta, which we lived downtown Atlanta. In fact, when we bought a house, we bought it south of I-20 because we wanted to, again, that we saw that as part of what God was calling us to do. And so, just knowing that any type of racism is just anathema to God. And so the other aspect of what we were doing in YWAM Atlanta was we were also working with Native Americans. We took a group of kids up to Cherokee, North Carolina, and we went out to Apache, Oklahoma, and working in all areas of racial reconciliation. What's really interesting about that, side note, is the church I came into in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, was Our Lady of Lourdes, which didn't know it at the time, didn't find out too much later, was a church founded by St. Catherine Drexel, who championed the African Indian missions. And so again, it was just one of those little dots that connected that we didn't even know it was there at the time. And so, just the idea that, Jesus' prayer, Father, may they be one as we are one. And I guess at the time what's interesting, it wasn't the theological differences that I saw so much that separated it, but it was race. And so that's what we did for the years we were in Atlanta. We were part of both those churches. But it was coming into the Catholic Church when we basically had to offer our resignation. And that's when the RCI program started, and we started attending Mass regularly. The first thing I noticed was in the congregation were white faces and black faces and Asians, Hispanics, and everybody was in the Catholic Church. There was no, division. It was all one body. And it was just revolutionary for me. I mean, I never encountered that in my life as a Christian, to see everybody there. And I guess Dorothy Day, when she was becoming Catholic, one of the things that impressed her was that rich and poor, boss and work, everybody was gathered together on their knees at the altar. There was no division. And again, and seeing that firsthand, it was just revolutionary that, we're trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to, it's already here. It's right here. It's right in front of us. And this where people come together as the body of Christ.